over caring, dude. I don't care anymore.
Oh, we're live.
All
So
right.
I guess I'll do it. Hooty hoo.
Hooty hoo!
Welcome, everybody. We have Josh Smith this week. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, dude. We had an awesome time this weekend at Tit Fest. Hope you guys go check that out. Tons and tons of speakers with lots of good information. Aaron, how have you been? I haven't talked to you all weekend.
You know, I'm busy. I'm busy this week. We'll see. See what happens.
So you guys, you tell me what's going on.
I mean, I got sheep. Did you see my sheep?
Yes, I want sheep video.
Got 2 sheep, registered, amazing bloodline, great sheep. And one of my oldest friends posted a comment, was like, what do you need sheep for?
Dude, saw that.
Sheep are the most versatile homesteading animal you can get.
Sheep rule.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're adorable. And they're so funny.
I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And they're like, the bloodlines on these guys are just amazing. And it's going to be years and years and years of really, I mean, sheep are versatile. It's meat, it's milk, it's wool, it's a lawnmower you don't have to fucking ride on or push, right? Which is amazing. When you've got acreage, you have no idea. I mean, there are so many benefits. So I'm one step closer to being ready for the boog, right?
I am drinking Hy-Vee purified drinking water from.
You're on the wrong show.
Dude,
Moines,
what
Iowa.
the hell?
He's in Iowa now, you guys. That's crazy. He's our Nate. Well, he's everybody's neighbor except Aaron's on the show.
We're touching tips.
Just the tip?
Touching tips.
Is it just the tip, Josh?
Just the tip. Just for a second. Just see how it feels.
So, Josh, I dig the haircut. Looks good.
Yeah, my overlords finally let me get a legal haircut after 3 months of looking like Shaggy the dog here in Iowa. So that was fun. I'm extremely excited. Yeah, I'm extremely excited to have an actual haircut now and feel like myself. My head lost 5 pounds, and it's a big head. I mean, you guys can see how big this thing is.
It's melanus, yes. That's one of the things John wanted me to tell you. He was disappointed that you did not get a black market haircut.
Oh, fair. My girlfriend kept saying, I'll cut your hair for you. I said, nah, I'm all right. I'll set.
Man, I want to put a disclaimer out tonight before we really get into the show, because after last week's show, so many people were like, oh, I don't know, the language on that show. All they do is smoke and drink and cuss. Yes, that's what we fucking do. And if that offends you, tune the fuck out now, dude.
Bye-bye now.
Shit. Bye-bye.
Some of my favorite and most real comedians in this world are people like Bill Hicks and George Carlin. And if you can't enjoy their entertainment with the F word sparsed in, then I don't know what to tell you. I feel bad for you. And I'm not even, you probably won't hear me say the F word once on the show. And I'm sorry to those that depresses or offends, but it's not my thing, but I love watching people who are passionate enough to drop the F word of every other word.
I mean, look, man, we may not be your cup of tea, and that's okay, because we're somebody's shot of fucking tequila or somebody's big spliff or whatever.
I prefer bourbon, but that's fine. I prefer bourbon.
Bourbon works.
But yeah, I mean, look at the name of the show and who we are. We don't hide anything. Nope. We are bold about who we are and what we stand for. If you don't
one
like
of my favorite podcasts.
You're
one of my favorite podcasts.
If you were upset about the content of last week's show, don't tune in when we talk bondage. Don't show up for the discussions on orgies. Don't show up for any of that shit, because it happens here on this show.
No, but last week,
not the orgies. Not the.
No,
they don't.
We won't televise those. We will not televise those.
If we do, it'll be on Pornhub and it'll be behind a paywall. And I mean, we have a whole plan for that.
Thanks. Smart. Make your money.
That's what it's about. Free market solutions. Free market solutions to government oppression.
So what are we talking about today?
What do you think? I don't know what's going on. I have not watched any of the LNC meetings because I enjoy my mental health. It's already deteriorating with the lockdown. I don't need any more of that. So I just read comments and try to keep up that way. So you guys, let me know where we are, what happened at the last meeting.
I mean, where we are right now is debate tokens went out today. If you didn't get it, reach out, because there are some email problems, because somebody somewhere made some changes in our email server and some things happened, and Gmail no longer likes us.
Yeah. We a lot of people didn't get their debate tokens today when they were supposed to, which is just another episode in the saga of bullshit that is revolving around this online convention. Just another saga.
I got them, and I'm not a delegate. So there we go, guys. There we go.
Yeah. So look, the deal is that the delegate list is given. Credentials has a list of names that were given to them by state chairs, and that's what they're going on, right? So if somebody's name is mixed up in there, that could be part of it. The LP email server, Gmail is bouncing stuff because they don't like us. We had too much stuff going to spam and too many forwards and all that kind of stuff. And so now we don't have a great reputation with Gmail. And that's causing a problem. And people are going to be pissed that I told you guys that. But that is what the deal is. And I'm telling you that because I was really pissed. And I was like, what the hell? This is starting to feel intentional that I'm not getting any of these invites to any of these.
Well, let's be honest here. The people that are not getting the invites, the people that are not being able to get logged into the online tests, for those that are not aware, I'm on the LNC and I'm running for the national chair position. And 2 of the 3 times they've had these tests, I have not been able to get into. And it's a story that I hear from several people who actually oppose an all online convention, which, to me, that feels intentional.
It feels intentional, right? Yeah, I'm on the LNC and I'm on the convention oversight committee and didn't even get an invitation.
Yeah.
No email whatsoever about the last test. I got ballots though. I did not get an email to join the test. So I could not join the test, but I got a ballot to vote.
Yeah, uncredentialed.
And then I was able to use somebody else's link to get into the last test.
Sure. Yeah, I got some of the. I got the ballots too, and I voted, but no one ever credentialed me. I never got credentialed. I wonder how many people voted that didn't get credentialed.
I know a lot of alternates got ballots and voted.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, look, Dre got tokens for the debate.
She got tokens, right? So, but I did. I was pissed.
What an absolute horror show this is.
Look, I was pissed, and Ken Molman, to his credit, spent quite a long time last night with me on a video call, going, "Okay, let's figure out if we can fix this. Let's figure out what the problem is." Well, my account had been placed on hold.
Well, I couldn't get into the second online convention test, so I talked to Dan Fishman, and he said, well, let's use your LP address instead.
Oh, that's worse. Don't do that.
No, wait. I changed addresses and still didn't get my invite to get into the meeting. So there's 2 addresses now that I feel like one of those probably should have gotten the invite, and they didn't at all.
And I know people who are watching are saying, yeah, but did you check your spam filter and your promotions filter? Yep. And Yelp, every one of them, whitelisted the whole 9 yards.
Whole thing. I did the whole thing. I don't know what to say. It's a mess. It's garbage. It's the reason why myself and Miss Adams and Karen Ann Harlos and Alicia Madsen fought so hard against this, because we understood that this is what we were walking into. The LNC. The worst part about it is the LNC has been completely blocked out of this entire process. It has been unilaterally taken control of by our chair and our executive director. Thank God they're using some stuff from Ken Molman.
Well, dude, the test before the last one, was it the test before the last one, or was it the last one when I got hacked in? Because somebody has been able to get me into most of them. But Karen Ann Harlos, who is our secretary, was not even the acting secretary during the test. How the hell is she supposed to make sure that she's up to date on all this stuff if she's been shut out?
Yeah, and here one of my biggest concerns is the fact that we had no less than 20 people come forward and say, hey, this is a better tech. This is a better way to do this. And none of those proposals were taken into account. Not a single one was taken into account by our executive director or our chairman. None of them.
Dude,
they were going to do Zoom no matter what anybody told them, no matter what anybody showed them was a better option. They were going to do Zoom because they know that Zoom webinar does not give you the opportunity to make privileged points. So if you see the chair do something wrong on Saturday and you get into a queue to try and speak or raise a point of order, it could be an hour before they get to you, or 3 before they get to you to make a point of order. If they get to you, the vote could be done. It could be done by then.
Look, in the one test that we were part of, I made a motion to adjourn. In the privileged comments, right, in the Q&A, motion to adjourn is always in order. It is a privileged motion, so I put it in the Q&A, right? This is a privileged motion, motion to adjourn. Before they got to me, somebody else made a motion to adjourn. Nick rolled it out of order. We went on. About 30 minutes later, he reads my motion to adjourn and gets snarky, right? Hey, this has already been ruled out of order. This is dilatory. Dude, when I fucking made the motion, it wasn't dilatory. When you finally got around to hearing it, it was, but that shit ain't on me.
Sure. It's a mess. The whole thing's a mess. And I don't know how anybody can look at this process and say that this is going to be a fair and even process for our delegates. And truth be told, I don't think they ever wanted it to be a fair process.
No, they didn't. And here's what pisses me off. There were better ways to do this. We could have had the exact same result, right? POTUS and Vice POTUS nominated this weekend without doing any of this.
Yep.
Without violating our bylaws, without doing any of this, without having the uproar. It all could have been done. It could have been done over the course of a week so that we're doing one ballot per day, multiple round balloting, like it should be done in a much more transparent method. It could have been done that way. Other methods were suggested to them. I know you suggested votes, right? I suggested Follow My Vote, another blockchain, and that's an app. We could all be on our phones with an app, just simply voting and not having to deal with all of this shit. You could be doing it from the grocery store, and you wouldn't be inconveniencing anybody of an online meeting.
Let me back up here for a second. Since we're going to talk about blockchain, we ought to talk about the blockchain committee that in 2018, myself, Michael Heiss, and Preston Smith, one of the founders of Nexus Earth, put together a proposal to have a blockchain committee for the National Libertarian Party. This committee was going to go out of their way to look into processes to find out how we could use blockchain in the party, including by voting for things at the national convention. Okay, this committee would have been perfect for the Libertarian Party. We showed up to you remember the Denver, Colorado LNC meeting, the three of us. The only person we could get to propose it on the LNC was Arvin Vora. Okay, Arvin proposed it. I stood up and spoke. It was the first time I had ever spoken in front of the LNC. I was super nervous, and I said, "Look, this is something the Libertarian Party should be supporting. The crypto community is vast. They're largely libertarian. They support a currency that circumvents the federal government. It's our people. We should be speaking to them. We should be learning how to use their processes in the party." It passed. We were stoked. Immediately, it was populated with people who had nothing to do with the crypto community whatsoever. Preston Smith has been the chair. It was torn apart, essentially made a committee that does nothing because they can't get anything done because they don't have any specialists on that board. And now we come to a place where we see how important that committee could have been had it not been proposed by the Mises Caucus, the evil Mises Caucus, and made to fail from the start. And I never really looked at it and said, hey, maybe someone wanted this committee to fail, until I heard that Nicholas Sarwark went to three of my colleagues and told them that they should have let me fail as the chair of the affiliate support committee.
Well, and look, I want to clear some of that up because mostly what we're hearing is correct. But since I was there and since I was involved in the conversation, I want to be really clear about how that went. It was really clear to many members on the committee that you had been put in that situation because you were expected to fail. And earlier that night, Nick had said something to me that I perceived as a threat and still perceive as a threat. When someone says, you've whipped against me a couple of conventions in a row, and at some point you will pay the price for that, I don't know how the fuck else you're going to take that.
That's disgusting.
Especially when you're a regional representative. I'm not elected by Nick. I answer to my region. I don't answer to Nick. So I don't know how else I could have taken that. I still take it as a threat because that's how it was intended. I was there, I'm telling you. And so I called him on it and said, look, I know what your motivation was. Let's just be clear. It's not a fucking secret. Everybody knows what your motivation was, and it was dirty, and it was the wrong thing to do, and you shouldn't have done it. And if you truly expected him to fail, you put everybody else on that committee in a really bad spot, and it's not cool. And he said, and you should have let him fail. And Richard Longstreth said, even though letting him fail would have meant that everyone else on the committee failed, would have meant that the affiliate suffered, we should have let him fail. And Nick said, it's $1,000. It's not really anything. You should have let him fail, and you've harmed the party irreparably because you didn't.
Well, and here's the thing. You know what, Nick? I wasn't perfect on that committee. I had never chaired a committee before. I was campaigning for national chairman. We didn't always get to meet, but I populated that committee with the best people I could find, and they kept it afloat. So, his bad. He shouldn't have made me the chair if he wanted to.
Did it go off without a hitch? No.
Not at
Was
all.
there a bump at the end? Sure. I mean, and we can talk about that too later if you want. But for anybody saying that didn't happen and that wasn't the threat, you're wrong. You're wrong. And it's not the first time. It's not the first time. It is not. For everybody watching who thinks this is all about convention, let me be clear. This is not. Thank you, Frankie Mermaid. I love you back. This is not all about convention. And if you will do your due diligence and dig through the LNC list and go back a few months, you will find a letter signed by 8 members of this LNC directed to Nick Sarwark, and it was sent to him privately first. All of these people that are saying if you have beef, you should address it privately. We tried. March, like last year, we have been addressing these things privately, and we get no answer, and we get no response, and we get, or if we get a response, it's a snarky response.
Well, and then if we go public with it, everybody who worships at the foot altar of Nick Sarwark has to come and call us liars or tell us you need to send proof or that's just how Nick is. Like, you're enabling this stuff. It's your fault.
It is your fault. It is your fault.
I'm glad you guys are bringing this forward.
Yeah, don't call out the people who call out the corrupt. Don't come in.
Right.
I think, Josh, I remember specifically making a post on the LNC list because you had raised some concerns, and the response was basically, "Oh, it's Josh, so we should ignore the concerns."
Sure.
That happened. Go back and read the fucking list, people. I'm not making this shit up. It's documented. Watch the fucking meetings. This shit's documented.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? It's there.
There's this, everybody calls, in 2018, there were so many people that were calling my supporters the cult of Joshua Smith, the cult of personality. And it's like, no, man, you're the cult of Nick Sarwark and business as usual, status quo politics in the Libertarian Party. And you enable this shit by turning a blind eye to it repeatedly over and over and over again. And anybody who calls it out is automatically a bad person. And that's just ridiculous. You need to look at yourself. Grab a mirror, look at yourself, and wonder why you're okay with corruption in the party that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into, because I'm not okay with it, and I'm going to make sure that it stops. Plain and simple.
And look, man, I remember saying on the list, when the room is on fire, failing to heed the alarm because you don't like the person who raised it is just fucking stupid. It's stupid. The room is on fire, people.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on. The room is on fire. And it's this horrible mentality of we can't let the Mises Caucus take over the party. That's what it is. Dan Fishman has gone and said that directly to members of the COC, that if we don't have this online convention, if we have an in-person convention, Joshua Smith and the Mises Caucus are going to take over the party. I'm not here to take over the party for the Mises Caucus. I'm here to chair the party for every member of the party.
Yep.
And so for you to say that I'm some Mises Caucus takeover is ridiculous. Yes, I'm endorsed by the Mises Caucus. I'm also endorsed by Boomer Shannon. I've also been endorsed by other people who don't even like the Mises Caucus. Yeah, so it's just a ridiculous assertion.
Well, and look, anybody who wants to say that everybody who's speaking out is somebody who has endorsed you, who has come out, I haven't endorsed you yet. You and I have talked about it. I have. I really would have loved, in my ideal situation, to see you spend another term on the LNC as an at-large, continuing the work you've already done. You're our #1 recruiter, dude. We need more of that. I think that there's something to be said for spending that time up there and really learning all of the intricacies. I do. And
here's the thing.
Who the fuck else am I going to vote for? Am I going to vote for Joe Bishop Henchman? And let me be clear. I wanted Joe to run. I did. Josh will tell you. I told Josh. I think a Longstreth Bishop Henchman ticket would be great for this party. I said that shit, and I was wrong. I was wrong.
Yeah. It's Nick Jr. It's more corruption.
And here's the deal. It's not like when he says it, when Josh says it's Nick Jr. And Nick did issue his endorsement for JBH, even though he later said he didn't endorse him, but we all saw it, right? So we know he did. It wasn't because Nick wanted Joe to take that seat. Nick talked mad shit about Joe in Reno. Nick stood there with me and Richard Longstreth and said Joe didn't have a vision for the fucking party. That's what he said. He wasn't willing to endorse Joe until after he put a post on his page and said, should I run? And people said, no, man, you shouldn't. That's when he decided to endorse Joe.
So what is like his vision? Because that seems to be his go-to for everybody he doesn't want to run. They don't have a vision for the party. They don't have the vision for the party. What the fuck is his vision for the party?
Nick has no
corruption.
Vision. Nick has never had a vision for this party.
That's why the party hasn't grown. I won't say he has no vision. I disagree with his vision.
I don't think he has any vision. I don't think he has any vision for the party. We asked him specifically at an LNC meeting to lay out his goals, lay out his vision for the party. He never did so. He kind of did. He talked about increasing media coverage, right? His vision was he starts upping his media appearances and trying to get more media for things that he wanted to do. He didn't say how they were going to
attain no good vision, no good plan.
No, he didn't say how it was going to be attained. You know, this is something that people asked me repeatedly in 2018. What's your vision? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? And I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't have any successes to point to, but I said, I think that this is how we can accomplish this. And I went, as soon as I got elected to at-large for the LNC, I set out to prove that those things could work, and they did. They did work. Mm-hmm. The focused messaging works. Making messaging goals works. Pushing more media works, but you have to have a plan for it. And you know, really sticking to libertarian principles has been what has been my bread and butter for bringing libertarians in the party. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of smaller libertarians around the country, possibly millions, that are not represented by the Libertarian Party.
Right.
And if you make them feel represented by the Libertarian Party, they're going to join our causes. They're going to become candidates. They're going to become candidate volunteers. They're going to become donors. And that's what we have to do. And I don't think that the highest echelon of leadership for this party has done that for the last 6 years. I don't think he's represented libertarians. Libertarians do not feel represented. They've been making it known on social media for years that they don't feel represented by Nicholas Sarwark, but they are now saying they feel represented by me. And
dude, where is the coalition building? Where's the coalition building for the last 3 terms?
There is none. None.
There is none. There is none. There is none. When, you know, and here's where you and I, Josh, and I know we're on different sides of this because we've talked about it. And here's a surprise, people. LNC members can be on different sides of things and still be friends and not want to kill each other.
No.
Hang out, have a good time. Right? Crazy, right? It happens, just not always with certain LNC members, right? When Nick swung at Jeff Dees, when the blood and soil comment came out, I was okay with that. I think that realistically, we should be swinging at the right and the left. I think we should be equal opportunity when we take punches at the right and the left. But when we brought up the resolution about property rights, that would have swung at the left. And rightfully, we should have been.
Well, it's so funny that the party constantly holds my feet to the fire for that resolution. I didn't write that resolution.
No.
I co-sponsored it. I didn't write it. Stephen Nikela wrote that.
Stephen Nikela wrote that. And it was a good resolution. Look, for you to say we should absolutely swing at the right, but the left, no, they get a pass? What? Where the fuck are you living?
Yeah.
I want to swing at the Republicans and Democrats. And that's what we should be doing. We're a national political party that should be swinging at the Republicans and Democrats and letting people know that their parties are corrupt. But we can't do that when our own party is corrupt.
Right. And that's the problem. And for anybody who thinks this is a new thing, oh, everybody, this is all just about the convention. It is not. It is not. The convention was simply the straw, I think, that broke the camel's back. If you will dig back through that list, go back to the meeting where Nick is asking us to give him $75 an hour as a fundraiser, where he says to the LNC, that he and Dan Fishman did everything they could to keep Lauren Doherty on staff, where Lauren shakes her head and says, "No, you didn't. That's a lie."
I remember that.
She called him out in that meeting over and over and over, and he never had a response for it because he was lying. They were lying to the board about what happened. He sat on her resignation for 3
weeks, dude. And then we said, no, we're not going to hire you to do this. Here's what we're going to do instead, right? We get that passed. The other directive we gave them was that job notification needed to be published far and wide, right? And we wanted it to be somebody from within the movement.
Never happened.
And that is not what happened.
Never happened. And Nick knew that never happened and tried to lie to us so that he could get that position to make $75 an hour of donor money. And here's look, it's even worse because Nick then said, I have $200,000 lined up right now. You give me this position and that'll come to the party. No, Nick, you should have brought that to the party already. If you had $200,000,
well, and here's the thing, he hasn't brought it to the party since.
No.
Oh my God.
So the chair literally said, I'm going to hold $200,000 in donor money hostage unless you do what I want you to do. And that's what that said.
Never came. And we suggested to Nick that, hey, why don't you go to your donor, give them your PayPal link, say, okay, here's the money that I want to make, and then you can do this full time without having to take $75 of donor money from people who didn't expect to have to pay you $75 an hour to do your job. And so the whole thing, and then he said, no, absolutely not to that. I said, okay, how about we make, Stephen and Caleb made a motion. Okay, we'll pay you half up front. Prove to us that you can
Josh,
raise this money.
John posted?
Yeah.
Well, I wish him well in his future endeavors.
Yep. That's all I can say. We need some good social media people if you're out there. We're going to need some after July, I promise.
Preferably people from the movement.
But yeah, that was the thing. Stephen and Caleb made a motion and said, hey, how about we'll pay you half right now. You raise the money you say you're going to pay. We'll pay you the rest at the end of that, certain term that you were talking about. That wasn't good enough either. It was never about being able to raise the money. It was about making the money.
Right.
So that he could move to New Hampshire on the party's dime and do whatever the hell he's doing over there.
I mean, I don't know why it was. I just know it was wrong.
I mean, that's what it looked like. That was right when he was trying to move to New Hampshire.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what it looked like. I don't know that that's what his motivation was. Ultimately, the motivation to me is less important than the action. Sure. I mean, it just is. He sat there in Reno when he said, Joe doesn't have a vision. Tell me what you see that you think he could do. And I said, man, I think he's got connections to some donors. I think he could bring in some new donor money, right? I said, I think Josh would do the same, right? And Nick said, well, then why haven't they? And I said, let me flip that around. Where's that $200,000 you said you could bring in? Why
I have though. That's the thing. My first donor that I got for this party after getting elected at large was $2,500 a month.
Wow.
I remember that.
That's almost the maximum donation amount.
Amazing. Good job, Josh.
That was my first donor. I brought hundreds and hundreds of national members to the party since then. I brought thousands to their local and state affiliates around the country. This is what I do. I should be the chair of this party because I can grow this movement. That's why I'm here. If I didn't think I could do that, I would not be running for this position, period. Plain and simple.
Look, honestly, I think the things that I see as weak points, I think a board will balance out. And for everybody watching, you don't need to have somebody in any of those positions that ticks all of the boxes. They just need to tick most of the boxes and be able to work with other people because it is a full board. And you ought to be able to rely on your board to help balance strengths and weaknesses.
Well,
we all have different skill sets.
I've already talked about delegating some things out too, right? Like I want to build the regional media team that I already have Larry Sharp signed up for, that I already have people like Boomer Shannon, Eric Rodstep, some of our greatest speakers that know this movement and our ideals well, that can go and take media opportunities on behalf of the national party, that can constantly look for media opportunities because it's not all about me. I don't need it to be all about me. I want to be focused on growing this movement, and I want all the best people around me while we're doing it because it's easier that way. It's not about me. It's not about my ego. I don't need to be on every single newscast. I don't need to go out and do those things. I want to build this party, and I can do that with great people around me. So, I don't know why the chair thinks that they are the only one that are allowed to do media for the party, but we can delegate some of that stuff out. You know what I mean?
Lee Jared Evans says it's y'all's job to work together, and you can't.
That's untrue.
Look, if your job is to work with this person, and this is what you're sold on, and then you get there and you find out it's not Robert Kennedy you're working with, it's Mussolini. Your job, you were defrauded into thinking that you can work with this person.
I've worked. Look, the thing about this is I've worked with
Nick. Work with people we don't get along with all the time.
Yeah, I've worked with Nick over the last 2 years. I've worked with you. I've worked with I've reached out to Sam Goldstein, who every time someone mentions my name on the internet, he pops up and says, "Josh, who?" Like, you know what I mean? I work with anybody. I sat down with Vincent Stoops at the Philadelphia State Convention just a couple months ago, who has been essentially cyber stalking me for 2 years, attacking me on every thread he could find me on. And I walked by and he said, "Will you set for my camera?" I said, "Absolutely, Vincent. Absolutely. I'll give you 20 minutes. I sat down and talked to him. I took all of his concerns and I answered them on his camera to him, not for my own podcast, I sat there and talked to him. I'll work with anybody. I pride myself on being able to sit down with the people that hate me and try to build bridges. I'll work with anybody. But that doesn't mean that we should sit there and be quiet about obvious corruption in this party that is making it harder for us to grow, because I want this party to grow. I want this party to be a viable alternative to a two-party system that is so corrupt that they put pork inside of an economic relief package,
right,
to go to individuals around this country that are suffering because of them. So,
right.
So don't tell me I can't work with people. I'll work with anybody. But I'm also not going to sit there and let your blatant corruption carry on while I'm around. And guess what? Unless you kill me, I'm not leaving.
Right.
Good. I do not want you guys to be quiet. This is a party that is supposed to stand on principles. And if we can't do that, we have no business putting down the R's and the D's for their lack of them.
And look, here's where I came out strong against Todd Hagopian. You guys all saw me do it, right? But I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer for Todd Hagopian's campaign.
He's turned out to be great.
Todd has put his money where his mouth is. He's put his time where his mouth is. He's busting his ass. He's doing good things. I'm a volunteer for Todd's campaign.
I'll tell you.
Josh, you know, because you brokered the meeting. You helped broker this meeting. I was pretty vocal going, Tom Woods, y'all are fucking crazy. I don't want anything to do with that. And Josh said, would you be willing to sit and meet with him and at least have this conversation? And I did. And you know what? I'm still not the biggest Tom Woods fan, but a lot of the impressions I had of him, I no longer have of him.
He's a sweetheart. Guy's a sweetheart.
So again, same as Josh, don't fucking tell me I'm not willing to work with people. I sat down and had drinks with Tom Woods, who I really was vehemently against. Yeah, I don't want to hear that.
I'll work with anybody. I'll work with anybody. Look, I have stayed true to the fact, to what I said in 2018. I will work with anybody who wants to roll the state back in any area, as long as they're not advocating adding more states somewhere else. Period.
John Phillips will tell you. Josh has disagreed with him very strongly. I have very strong disagreements with John Phillips. We all work together.
Yeah, I love John. And me and John have
Karen Ann and I have had disagreements, strong disagreements, and we work together.
Me and Karen Ann have had private messages that end with "Leave me alone, don't talk to me," blah 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 blah, and then the next day we're conversating and working on whatever it is that we're working on.
It happens all the time.
When you're on a board with 17 people and you have different visions as far as what should be happening, there's going to be arguments. It's going to be, you know.
And honestly, if you think people who aren't speaking out, and there are people who aren't speaking out, people who everybody thinks are all on the same side, who I have watched, and Josh, you have watched, and I'm not going to name drop. This person can drop their own name if they choose to, stood up from the meeting table, walked to the back of the room and said, "He's trying to tank us. I'm about to punch the fucker in the face." About Nick. Yes, they have.
Yeah. That wasn't me, though.
No, it wasn't you.
I want to make sure everyone knows it's not me.
It was not you.
I am the fighter on the board, but I'm not. I don't fight.
Nobody expects that from.
I am the fighter on the board, but I'm not a fighter of the board, if that makes sense.
I hate to interrupt, guys, but and I'll let you get back to your rant. But we got a new endorsement that just came in. So Josh Smith, you're officially endorsed by Scott Zimmerman, executive director of the Nebraska Libertarian Party. Yeah. You know what I will say about Josh, and he's young, he's dumb, but man, he's fired up. No, he's not dumb. He's actually a very smart man.
Not dumb. Josh is not dumb.
No, and not at all. But he's young. He's fired up. And here's the deal: I've had the honor and the privilege to spend time with Josh and to get to know him and talk to him. And I would leave my children alone with Josh Smith. And that means if I trust Joshua Smith with my children, I trust him with my Libertarian Party.
I appreciate it.
And what Josh lacks in experience in running a board of directors, he's going to make up for in his natural ability to lead individuals and to put people in the right place at the right time. And that's what I've seen you do over and over again for the last 2 years, Josh. You've done that successfully, and you've done it through thick and thin, because I know it hasn't been easy for you.
I just still want you as an at-large. I do.
It was like the Shawshank Redemption. You know that ending scene in the Shawshank Redemption where he wades through like 2 miles of shit to get out of the prison.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what the last 3 years has been
Look,
like.
I will tell you guys too. I have seen a whole lot of members on the LNC come together in a working group, right, and say, "Hey guys, we have this problem. Let's fix it this way." And I've seen them come together and work together and write the motion. And I've seen Josh submit it and get stabbed in the fucking back by the same people who helped write it more than once.
Well, that's this politic game, and I have my own theories on what's causing this in our party, Josh. And when you're elected chair, you and I will sit down and have a conversation. And I know that you will actually genuinely listen to me, as opposed to placating me and treating me like I'm a complete and utter waste of his time. And I will not name anybody's names in particular, but that's exactly how I felt every time I've talked to anybody else that's running for chair. That it's not Joshua Smith. So
I will
thank you,
guys
Josh.
Something else too. When that fight for 75 was going on, after that meeting, I do too. After that meeting, a bunch of us got together and started going, okay, we need to find an alternative plan, right? Because clearly we are not going to pay Nick $75 an hour. And the original plan was that we would name Whitney Bilyeu and Joshua Smith as interim directors of government, so they can work together.
Yeah.
And as we started shopping that to other LNC members, I was told by several of them, I like the plan. That's a good idea. We can go with that. If it's just Whitney, I won't sign on to anything that has Josh's name on it.
And the funny thing is I was going to fundraise.
Gary, I do know your issues.
I was going to do all the fundraising calls for free for this party, and they wouldn't even let me. And I've done great at fundraising for a myriad of things around the country.
Right.
I was the keynote speaker in Iowa just last month, and I raised them $5,000 for the Iowa State Party. I did the same thing in Illinois. I raised $5,000 after keynoting there for the Illinois State Party. Like, that's what I do.
That night, Josh, I get back to my Airbnb. And it's one phone call after another, talking to all the people that are trying to make this work. And it's becoming really clear that if Josh's name is on this is not going to go through. See, John and I worked hours that night trying to make this work, right? And I call Josh and I say, dude, man, this is what's going down. This is how it looks. It looks like we aren't going to be able to make this work if your name's attached to it. And he said to me, then take my name off of it because this party is more important than my ego.
That's my exact words.
It stings, but this party is more important than my ego.
And that's what I want in my leadership.
Then I'm out. I'm done. If that's what it takes, do it.
That was verbatim, actually.
Verbatim. That's what he said to me. I'll never forget it.
I can vouch for that because this is not the first time I heard that. I heard that directly after it happened, and nothing has changed. So,
I mean,
and it sticks true today, you know.
Like, and it sucked to make that call, and I was just like, you know, if anybody's going to make this call, it's going to be me because I'm not going to be a dick about it. It's
hilarious because, you know, I've had so many things thrown at me over the last 3 years, right? I mean, everything from white nationalist to narcissist to deadbeat dad to woman abuser to this, that, right?
Oh, you're just terrible.
Yeah, I know. I'm a horrible person, man. If anybody wants to write a book about my life, I promise you it's going to be about 25 pages. It's not going to be nearly as cool as what you hear about me on the internet. But the truth of the matter is that that is one thing that's always been true for me. The party has always been more important than my ego. And I hear people call me a narcissist and talking about an ego trip and this and that. I don't care. It's not about me. It's about this party. Look, at the end of the day, I do have selfish reasons for this because I do want liberty in my lifetime. I do want freedom in my lifetime. I do want my kids to grow up in a more free society than I had to grow up in. Yep. So in that respect, there is some selfishness there.
Sure.
But when it comes to the work that I do every day, I'm doing it for the party. I'm doing it because I want the party to expand. I want the party to grow. I want the party to be able to fund 10 frontier projects around the country. I want the party to be able to have a bountiful eCanvasser and Civ CRM and all these great things that we could be doing if only we could stop fighting corruption and focus on stuff that puts our swords outwards towards the Republicans and Democrats. Once we get there, I have no doubt in my mind that this party can do great things. And that's my only motive.
Look, and I want to say
me. What am I going to make? The chair's an unpaid position.
Yeah. What are they going to? Yeah. I mean, look, I think too, a lot of people that are watching, they see this controversy. They see a controversy here. They see a controversy there. And they think that's all the LNC does is have controversies. That's just not fucking true. The party has a National Press Club membership because Joe Bishop Henchman helped get it. That's true. The party has grown by leaps and bounds because Joshua Smith has been busting his ass at recruiting. That's true. The policy manual no longer reads like a fourth grader wrote it because Karen Ann Harlow and Alicia Matson, who do not always get along, actually. They work their asses off together to fix that shit. Yeah. The Frontier Project went through. I mean, we got a lot of shit done. More shit.
Which has been deprioritized.
Because all you hear about is the controversy. And yeah, the Frontier Project that is so important and so vital to our electoral success for all of you, those of you who say, we worry about philosophy too much and we're a debate club. We should be focused on getting people elected. Well, damn it, that's what the Frontier Project is about. Mm-hmm. But now we're finding out that there has been no targeted fundraising directed toward the Frontier Project. No. Because it has not been a priority.
Well, let's go back just a second. It was a priority. The LNC made it a priority. The LNC,
it's not a priority to the office.
The LNC moved to give money to that project so that project could succeed in Wyoming. And I'm finding out personally from somebody who heads up that project that it was unilaterally deprioritized by the office and the chair.
Yeah, and that's
the chair is the only one who can deprioritize that. The only one.
I mean, guys, you need to go back and do your homework. And there are a lot of members who've been around a really long time, like Kerry Douglas McKinnon in Texas, who will tell you that he has had all of these same experiences with our chair. Yes.
I love Kerry, by the way.
Kerry's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of our other chair candidates have had these same experiences with our chair. They don't always want to say it, but it's true.
Yeah, I told somebody the other day. I think I finally just broke down. I was in a podcast with the Liberty Cafe. Is that what it's called? Or the New Jersey Libertarian Party. 3 guys from the Libertarian Party in New Jersey: Jay Edgar and Joseph and Mike, and great guys. And I finally just in the middle of it, I said, I'm done protecting the reputations of people who want to see me fail, and will try to achieve that by any means necessary, even at the detriment of the party that's supposed to be leading. I'm done protecting those people's reputations. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. You don't have to believe me. But there's other people that are coming forward with these same stories right now that have nothing to do with me, never supported me for chair, hate the Mises Caucus. They are not a part of my inner circle, and they're coming forward with the same stories. And if you don't believe all of them, then you're enabling it. Period. Plain and simple.
With the story today, right? And Matt, 2 weeks ago, was calling my ass out on Facebook.
Matt Hicks has hated me for a while.
On me.
For a while.
He did not tell that story because he was my biggest fan.
Well, here's the thing. Matt Hicks, I read all that stuff that Matt Hicks put out today, and the only reply I could put to him was, Matt, I'm glad you're finally seeing this stuff. I appreciate it so much that you did not reach out to me to get this information, because it would have been immediately immediately denigrated by the rest of these people who worship at the foot altar, right? And so I was happy he didn't come to me for that information, because that means he went to other people for that information that are not in my inner circle, right? And so it's like, look, I've been trying to say this stuff for 3 years. I've been trying to tell everybody, like, look what is going on in front of you. We have a party that can be successful, and we have people who are spending their time trying to fight ghosts that aren't even there, right? We're a party of 18,000 members. It's so minuscule compared to the Republicans and Democrats that you fighting people in this party, it almost feels like you're doing it to tank the party, because we don't have the luxury of fighting each other. We have to grow. And if we want this pond to inch towards the ocean, we need to unify, we need to work our asses off, and we need to stop sticking our swords in each other's backs, because it's not going to attain anything. Nothing.
Oh, thank you, Kerry. Look, there was a lot of shit, a whole lot of shit that a lot of people on the LNC let go and just went, you know what? It sucks and it's wrong, but we're going to roll with it, because it doesn't benefit the members for us to focus a whole bunch of time on this thing, right? On this one shitty thing. But when one shitty thing turns into 10, turns into 20, turns into 50, at some point, you have to say no more. When 8 members of the LNC tried to approach the chair privately via a letter delivered by the chair of the acting judicial committee, and the chair refuses to respond, what the fuck else are we supposed to do?
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a mess. It's been a mess. And I don't want to see that legacy carried on. You know, I want that legacy to end in July. That's why I'm running for chair, because I want a legacy of transparency. I want a legacy of not corruption. I want a legacy of growth. I want a legacy of electoral success, of educational success. And I believe I built the blueprint to make that happen. But we have to make sure that the people that are running this party are actually focusing on those things, that aren't playing these petty intra-party political backroom bullshit games. And I'm not that kind of person. I'm not. Anybody who knows me personally will tell you that's not who I am. Huh?
You put your shit all out front.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, and anybody who knows me personally knows that. But it's also one of the reasons I've been able to inspire so many people to get involved around the country, because I'm real, because I'm a blue-collar working-class guy that gets up every morning, puts my freaking boots on, and goes to work like the rest of America. And I've impassioned myself into this movement, and I've made it my #1 goal to grow freedom in America, and it's inspiring people just like me to do the same. And so, you know, I may not win in July. I'm still going to keep fighting, but I hope that people will give me the opportunity to create more freedom in America by inspiring, you know, people just like me around the country.
I mean, look, I started thinking about it like over this last week too, like going, what the hell? Why can people not see what is directly in front of them? Why are people struggling with this? And today I found a quote from Carl Sagan, or yesterday, I guess I found a quote from Carl Sagan that explained it all, right? And it said, one of the saddest lessons in history is this: if we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. And that's what this is, people. This is cognitive dissonance going, how the hell did I buy into that? And I've been there, and I've had a million instances of cognitive dissonance. And all I can tell you is what has worked best for me is going, shit, I can't believe I bought that shit. Now I got to go tell everybody I was wrong. Hey, I was wrong about Todd Hagopian, right? I said that. When you wake up from that cognitive dissonance, you go, hey, I was wrong about this thing. Here's why I thought that. Here's why I don't now. And then you let that shit go, and you try not to make those same decisions, same bad reads again, right? There is nothing wrong with saying, wow, I can't believe I supported somebody who would do this. Believe me, a whole lot of American voters feel that way every goddamn election cycle. And if we're telling them they've got to let go of their cognitive dissonance, we need to start by showing them how to do it. And we need to let go of our cognitive dissonance here.
Exactly.
And we have a lot of it.
It's time to burn
It's a problem.
Look, it's time to burn the altars and start over.
Right. The
Period.
altar should never be there. This is a party, not a church. If you're looking for a religion, this is not it.
Agreed.
Not.
It's time to fight the state, which is what this party was created to do. It's time to be successful fighting the state and educating the populace on libertarian ideals. We can't do that if we're setting up altars and sticking our fingers in our ears and saying, no, I can't hear you. You know, we have to have a party that has the focus and the goals to actually roll the state back. And that's what I do every day.
Noah says 10% of the people watching us are on the Alabama EC. Hey, put that back up. Yeah, that's it. You got to own your mistakes. You got to say, hey, I was wrong about this person.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you were right about this person.
I'd rather respect myself. I like that. I'd rather respect myself than have respect from anybody else. Because, you know, if you can sleep at night knowing you made the decisions that you thought were the right decisions, then that's so much more valuable than having one other person respect you. So
I would have so much more respect for somebody who comes out and says, hey, I was wrong about this and here's why. My bad. You know what?
Yeah, I did it.
That's a whole lot different than, you know, sticking to it till the end. I have a lot more respect for somebody who can say that they were wrong and why than somebody who's just like, well, I got it.
Anybody in membership expects the LNC to be right all of the time.
God, I hope not.
They expect us to own it when we're not.
But that's so. Look, I had to do after 2018. Okay, I came on the scene pretty hot and passionate about this whole thing, and you know, a lot of people looked at it and they wanted to criticize me, and I didn't know how to take criticism because I had never had this national cabal of criticism thrown at me all at once, and so I was constantly in defensive mode, you know, and I didn't really know how to take this criticism. And then I had this debate at national, and I had never been in a live debate.
Oh my God, dude.
First time I'd ever been in a live debate. I did horrible. I took all the bait on the stage that was thrown at me like it was going to save my life somehow. And after that, you know, that was ego crushing. You know, I got 22.5% of the vote after a national tour of the states. You know, I went to 26 states. I keynoted behind Ron Paul at the Omaha Roads to Freedom Convention. It was beautiful.
Dude, now you know what it feels like to be a libertarian POTUS candidate.
Yeah, exactly. And so, don't give me any ideas. And so, you know, it was ego crushing, and I had to sit down, and it took me a couple months. I had to sit down and go, dude, look what you're doing. You're not doing this right. You know, you can't be attacking these people. You can't be always defensive with these people. You need to learn how to take criticism. You need to go and take some debate classes. You need to check out Toastmasters. You need to do this. And so it was like I reevaluated the whole system that I was using, and I put together a whole new plan. And I came back, and when people asked me to run again, I knew I was ready, right? But I also had to apologize. I did. And I had to apologize to a ton of people. I had to say, look, I'm sorry. You know, I shouldn't have treated you like that. I should have talked to you different. I should have taken in your criticisms and changed what I was doing. And it was a humbling experience. And it's good for the soul to do that because it reminds you that you're human. And so, yeah, it was a good experience. It's better to be happy with yourself because then more people will respect you if you're respecting yourself. And I had to do that.
I see two huge problems in our party, right? Most of us suffer from horrible cases of imposter syndrome. Like, let that shit go. Seriously, let that shit go. You're not helping yourself, and you're certainly not helping anybody else. And this fear of failure. How the fuck are you going to learn if you never fail? You're not. And we need to learn. We have a whole lot of ground to cover. It's okay to get it wrong. It's just not okay to sit by and ignore it.
I've learned more from my failures than I ever have from a victory.
Sure.
Way more.
Josh, it's evident how much you've learned in the last 2 years. I mean, since I met you exactly about 2 years ago here in Omaha at the Unconvention, you've grown leaps and bounds, and obviously you've done tremendous things for the party.
I appreciate that. And, you know,
I've done tremendous things for the party. And I will tell you something else. People talk about Josh and say all kinds of nasty shit about Josh. But I have been in places where I would have been very vulnerable. My safety would have been vulnerable. But because Josh was there, it wasn't.
I appreciate that. And, you know, it's funny because there's.
You remember Houston, right?
Yes. Some of the accusations. Some of the accusations that have been levied at me over the last levied at me over the last 3 years have been just heinous. Anybody who got that joke's gonna enjoy that. But did anybody on the show get it? Somebody outside the show will get the heinous joke. Don't worry. Yeah. Heinous. So yeah, but right before my campaign in 2018, we had started a page called Dankertarians. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dankertarians. So we had started that page. There was a big group of us. In fact, the communist cat that ran against me in 2018 was one of my very good friends. Matt Cat was one of my very good friends who helped found Dankertarians with me and some other people who are now a part of Think Liberty. And we had this secret group, the Dankertarians family, and the guy who started it at the time, we found out, was sexually harassing a bunch of women in the group through private messages. Those women all came to me, and they said, hey, this is not bad. And I went out of my way to shame this guy in this group, to try and get him to leave this group because he started the group. I mean, any of the women who work with TL will tell you that the accusations that have been levied at me over the last 3 years are just not anywhere near what I am as a human. And so, yeah, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, people are going to believe what they want to believe, and that's fine.
We're seeing that now, right?
And all I can do is say, hey, that's not me. If you'd like to have a conversation, please do. I'll sit down with anybody and talk to anybody about anything, and I will address any concern you have. I've contacted about 550 delegates over the last 2 days, initial contacts. It doesn't mean I've had phone calls with all of them. I've had a lot of phone calls too, but I told everyone, look, you have any concerns whatsoever, it doesn't matter if it's about my personal life, what I'm going to do for the party, where I graduated high school, where I went to college, I don't care. Ask me and I'll tell you, because I've committed to having an open door policy for this party and its membership, because that's the only way we grow. You have to take the concerns of the party membership, who are our bread and butter, who pay to make this party possible. You have to take those concerns and you have to address those concerns. And so I'm doing that with my delegate calls, and I'm always going to do that as chair of the party. And I don't care what concerns they are. I don't care what you want to ask me. I don't care if you want to ask me what the airspeed of a laden swallow is. We'll figure it out together. I might not know it offhand. I haven't watched that movie in a while, but we can figure it out,
Well, and Chad Williams says, and he can run a meeting. That's true. Two state conventions ago, Josh ran the Oklahoma State Convention with no notice. Like I put him on the spot. We had asked David Demarest if he would gavel the meeting, and he misunderstood that. And so when he said yes, all he was agreeing to was gaveling in the meeting, right? And so and I was chair, and I didn't fucking want to do it. I didn't want any part of that.
You weren't chair yet.
I wasn't chair yet. I was running for chair, right?
You got elected chair there.
Our chair didn't want to do it. She was going out. She wanted to participate in the vote, right? And I'm sitting there going, what do we do? And it occurs to me, Josh is running for chair, and people keep saying he can't run a meeting. So I go to Josh and I'm like, hey, you need to run this meeting. And he's like, what? Like, I'm not prepared to do this. And I'm like, well, that's the biggest criticism, is that you can't run a meeting. So go show me you can run a meeting, because I don't know if I'm convinced. And he took that bait and he did it. And we had a contentious convention. There was a censure. Oh, love to Walter, Carrie. If y'all don't know, Walter has not been well. Carrie and Walter could use good vibes and support. And if there's a GoFundMe, if you want to donate, seriously, good people who could use some libertarian love right now. But yeah, Josh, he went in and did it. We had a censure. We had 5 or 7 resolutions.
I presided over the censure of Joe Exotic.
Sure did.
No way.
Yep, yeah. And we finished early.
Yeah, early
nice.
on time, in a very contentious meeting. I think there was 3 censure motions. So I know I presided over the censure of Joe Exotic. I presided over the censure of Arvin Vora. I don't remember what the third one was. But here's the thing. Let me tell this story, because I tell it better than Aaron, because she's downplaying it really bad. Okay, I was about 2 hours away from where the convention was, staying with some friends in Oklahoma, outside of Oklahoma City. And I got picked up by Will Cagle at 4 o'clock in the morning to go and help set up the convention. So we drive 2 hours at 4 or 5 in the morning. We get there, and I go in and I start doing whatever little setup stuff I can do. And I got my tie's still not all the way up done yet. I see Adam Kokesh's bus out in the parking lot. So I'm like, I still me and Adam hadn't really become friends or talked a lot at this point, but I was like, I want to see if Adam's out there. So I walk out there, and it's I think the meeting started at 8 o'clock, and this is like 7:45 or something.
Early.
And I walk out to Adam's bus, and I'm having a cigarette because if you don't know, I'm a cigarette smoker. I'm trying to kick the habit. It sucks. So I'm out there smoking. There's no one in the parking lot. And all of a sudden I turn around and Erin's standing right there in front of my face. And she goes, Josh, you're going to run this meeting. I go, excuse me? She goes, you're going to run this meeting. The chair doesn't want to run this meeting. David didn't realize what he was agreeing to. You're going to go run this meeting. I said, I haven't even looked at the platform proposals, the bylaws proposals, which, by the way,
they replaced our bylaws. All
they
of
were
them.
replacing the
And
entire
added a platform.
platform. And I had not even looked at the proposals yet. I didn't know that there were these censure motions. And she goes, and I go, I don't know if I can do this, Erin. You know what I mean? Like I'm still, I had a good working knowledge of Robert's rules at this point. I felt like maybe I could if I was forced to, but I didn't know if I could do it for sure. And Erin goes, listen, this is verbatim. Listen, you want to be the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, right? And I said, yes. She said, then you fucking get in there and run this meeting. So I tie up my tie. And I said, all right, here we go. And I walk inside and they hand me an ice cream scoop.
Yep, it's an ice cream scoop. No gavel.
That's
And I'm like, all right, here we go. You know, and, well, David gavels in, and I'm like, we're like starting the meeting, and I'm still looking at the bylaws and the platform proposals, and I'm going, all right, here we go. I'm calling this meeting to order at, it's 8 o'clock. I'm like, shit. But it's good. So the cool thing about not knowing how to run a meeting, but not being a professional meeting runner yet, was that when there's 100 libertarians in a room, they are going to remind you of the rules. You mess up. So I'll never forget the first time I messed up. I look out in the back and I see Rex Lawhorn of all people go, rules. And it's like,
Yep.
all right, I got it. So, but we did good. It was a very contentious meeting. We were able to get done early and start hitting the fireball. And then I got to give a speech that night during dinner. It was really nice. But yeah, I had never run it.
When you walked into that meeting, you were the underdog, right?
Oh, yeah.
That meeting, Oklahoma just got ballot access in 2016. So there was a whole lot of love for Nick. The National Party was instrumental in us getting that ballot access. There was a whole lot of love for Nick. And Josh walked in as the underdog that everybody heard some shady stuff about and nobody was sure. And he walked out with the largest portion of secured delegates.
Until the debate at the National.
Until the debate. But even with that, like,
point of order.
Look, Scott, like I know some of our delegates went up to him afterward and were like, dude, we came in here committed for you. But after that debate, I just can't. And Josh, literally, like I said that to you. And he said, I get it. I
knew. I walked off the stage. I knew I lost a ton of support. It was like you're driving a train and 10 miles down the road, you see a truck and you can't stop. You just can't, And so that's what that debate was like for me. It was like the whole time in my head, I'm going, what are you doing, man? Stop. Don't do that. Stop doing that. Don't say that. Don't take that bait. Don't call him that. Don't say this. And then we come to the famed moment where somebody in the crowd goes, hey, Nick, what do you think about Bill Weld? And I go, yeah, Nick, what do you think about Bill Weld? And my head just went, you dumb idiot. Right? And it was like, Nick was like, it was like I pitched this like low underhand softball. Nick was like, whoopee, see ya. And I was just like, oh man. I walked off the stage shaking my head. In fact, I saw Jackie Perry. I saw a post right after I got off that was her talking about me walking off the stage, knowing that I just lost the vote because I did. I knew it was over. And in fact, Matt Welch went up to Larry Sharp and says, hey, Larry, what do you think about your boy? And Larry said, it's done. It's over. It's done. During the debate. And he was right. We were all right. I mean, I knew it. And I was running.
There's so much love for Nick because he can run a meeting and he's a great orator and he's a great speaker. So was every dirty president we've ever had in this country.
Sure.
Yeah.
I hate that can he run a meeting bullshit. Dude, I can run a meeting.
I legit have a point of order, though. We've been on for about an hour and 5 minutes now, ladies and gentlemen. So we've had a good.
Start wrapping this up. I mean, it's not a big deal.
We've had a good show, Josh. Before we go, though, I do want to give you the opportunity to tell people where to find you. What's the best place to track?
Plug away.
Where do they send money?
I'm easy to find, man. Find me on Facebook, man. Message me, send me a message. If you got questions, you want to talk, if you're a delegate, especially right now, I'm trying to get a hold of all the delegates. It's hard because they don't give me your phone number. They just give me an address, and I don't want to send people a bunch of shit. I feel like that's just annoying, and I just want to talk to you. I want to address your concerns. So find me on Facebook. I have my personal profile. I have no problem adding you. I think I got about 250 more spots available on my friends list, and I have the Joshua Smith LNC at large page, the Joshua Smith for Chair 2020 page. Let's see. I got a Twitter, Joshua at large, at Joshua at large. That's kind of where I put a lot of my comedy stuff. I go after some politicians there sometimes too. Yeah, I like my Twitter. Twitter's fun because you can tag any politician in the country anytime you want, say whatever you want to them. And, when I'm the chair of the party, they're going to listen to me more. That's one of the reasons why I want the platform. I want to go after the bad politicians in this country. So, just find me there, and if you want to have a call, I'm more than willing to have a call, especially since now it's looking like the officer elections aren't going to take place till July 8th through the 12th at Rosen Shingle Creek in Orlando, Florida. So,
and look, man, I'm not ready to endorse in that race yet. I will be at some point. I have some other stuff I still need to look at, some stuff I want to talk to a couple of chair candidates about, right? So y'all can expect an endorsement from me, but it won't be till closer to the in-person convention. And the other thing I do want to point out is look at the endorsements that each of these candidates has gotten and look at where they're coming from. And Josh is really reaching across multiple factions in this party. So if you're looking for somebody who can fix some of this stuff and who can unite people, that's one of the things I'm looking at. There are two candidates, maybe that have some of that, but Josh is absolutely winning there. He's gotten endorsements from people from every spectrum of this party, and that does not happen with the other chair candidates, and it certainly didn't happen even last cycle with Nick.
Yeah, I pride myself on being a grassroots guy, man. So I like to work with everybody. Hopefully that translates to the rest of the delegates.
And I will tell people that are looking at a no to vote, I want to remind you that that's happened before and it didn't work out real well for us.
It's not a good plan.
Know your LP history.
It's not a good plan.
If you're going to vote
have
no
somebody in that seat.
No to voters better have somebody in your hip pocket.
2006?
Yeah, this has happened.
2006?
It happened because of a speech that Nick gave.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
We can go on and on about that shit.
All right. Save it for the after show, Aaron. All right, you guys. Dre, you got any last final comments for the night?
TitFest, go check TitFest. It's out there.
Yeah, go check TitFest out. There's 24 hours of content there to check out. They'll be sprucing it out, but you can sift through it now if you want to. We've got Mercedes Lynn Damitrowski next week.
Yay, Mercedes is coming on.
She's from Western Nebraska. I can't remember what she's running for, but
she's the chicken tender. She got called the chicken tender in the newspaper or something.
Shut up.
Yeah, because she's running this petition to make it legal to have chickens inside the city limits of Kearney.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's insane.
So,
we can have them here in Omaha,
right?
Yeah, but every municipality is different.
But she is running for city council too. So, but right now that's her big media push is the chicken lady. So. It'd be great to talk to her. So
y'all need to come watch her because Mercedes is somebody to keep your eye on too, even after the city council race. I hope she's going to win. If she doesn't win this time, she'll win next time, and she's going to continue to win.
Right on.
Josh,
all right, you guys.
I'm going to win. He's talking
yes, vote for Josh.
Is Mercedes running for city council or is she running for legislature? She's running for legislature.
She's going to win.
She went to the city council for the chicken thing. That's why we're getting confused. Anyway, we'll see her next week. Aaron, Dre,
Josh,
Smith. Thank you.
Love you guys. Love you
guys.
Bye,
Z.